What up, YouTube Digital? Take back, or sit back and let's listen to some little wise words from Mr. Adam Carolla. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't know who he is. Adam Carolla basically got to start on K-Rock with Jimmy Kimmel. And then he co-hosted Loveline, which I used to love listening to that shit at night when I was doing janitorial. Because I could, it was like, I was like them in a way that every time a girl would call or whatever, you would just hear, sat on Uncle's lap too long, all that shit. And what they were saying was true. But a lot of people also don't like Adam because, I don't know, he has a car. I don't know, fuck, whatever reason, stupid reason they don't like him. But the fact is, in life, you are in control of your own fucking destiny. And Lambdog was, talking about the middle class. Well, the middle class comes and goes. Now, people need to understand that. The middle class, especially the upper, comes and goes. It's supposed to do that. Okay? Don't worry. It's not alarming. But who gives a shit? Because why should you give a shit? You should give a shit about you. Do I give a shit about whether or not somebody's in the middle class or not? No, I don't give a flying fuck. I don't give a fuck. I used to have a term when I went to school, I ain't gonna say it right now, but it was not PC as it could be. But anyhow, let's go ahead and just listen to this for a few minutes and just listen to what he's saying, take it in, milk it. It doesn't matter what you want to do, what you want to be, what you want to, none of that shit matters. None of that shit matters.
The feeling I have toward my family and in terms of negativity, this is the number one thing where I think I have a gift. I have ability. I have something to share with the world, and you assholes were going to watch me dig ditches or fucking roof houses in Van Nuys for the rest of my life. God damn. That's what you try.
Basically, I'm going to agree with him because my family was the same goddamn fucking way. Basically, they do your homework, but they never, sat there and said, hey, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to, none of that. Hey, you fuck. So.
Right. You didn't burn calories doing it, but you still set me on a course where you took my voice and you basically doused it with sand and said, go ahead and get on a roof. And I mean, when I said to my dad, I'm digging ditches for a living, he's like, yeah, okay, what about it? There was never a second where anyone said, hey man, you got something there. You should write that down. That's a good one. Right. The advice I would give is, you're never going to feel the way my buddy Donnie in the next room feels about himself, because he grew up with a family that I think they had his first solid BM put in Lucite, and his mom still uses it as a paperweight, or it's hanging from the rearview mirror of her Denali. Either way, you're just never going to feel the way about yourself that other. I'll liken it to this. It's like a car that rolled over a few times.
Yeah.
And no matter how much paint and Bondo you put on it, that door on the passenger side, it's always going to be a little sticky.
Yeah.
Never going to shut. Never going to shut like a car door that never got rolled.
Right.
You've been rolled.
Yeah.
You got T-boned by a drunk driver at some point, and that door's always going to be a little bit sticky. That ain't a death sentence. The first way to get out of that is you're the only one who truly knows what's going on inside your head.
And what makes you happy.
And what makes you effective.
Yeah.
And the point is the rest of the world, you show them a winner, you show them an efficient person, you show them a happy person, you show them a person that's a good employee, you show them a person that's a good husband or a good father or a good neighbor. You show them that person, they'll take your word for it.
Now, I'll kind of disagree with them a little bit right there. Usually, when you show them somebody, it's good. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Fuck, I'll even give Obama props on that. Okay? They usually won't praise him. They will do the opposite. They will attack him. You know, oh, Buffett's got too much money. Fuck that. Buffett earned his money. Who gives a shit? You know? And I think that right there is a clear sign of somebody that's not ever going to make it. Not what they want to. They might screech by. They might make a little bit more than normal, but they are purposely putting their balls in a vice for nothing. Because they're jealous.
So, first things first, whatever chaos is going on in your head, it can stay in your head. It does not have to be projected onto the rest of the world. You can climb the corporate ladder and be CEO of Nabisco and have all the negative thoughts in your fucking head bouncing around like a ball inside a spray can if you show up to work on time every day, if you clean the gravy stains off your suit lapel, if you act as if. I always talk to Drew about this. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you feel like shit inside. Act as if you're successful. There's a certain way where, and eventually, you will become that person. Meaning, okay, you have a certain amount of sadness in you. And you have a certain amount of depression. And you have a certain amount of, you fill in the negative blank. Get up and do 20 push-ups every morning. And I know you feel like shit. And I know maybe it's twice as hard for you to do 20 push-ups as a guy who feels good about himself. But I want 20 push-ups.
Yeah.
And by the way, at a certain point, tell your biceps and your shoulders you haven't done 20 push-ups. They don't listen. They don't care. You do 20 push-ups, your shoulders will respond the same way a happy, well-adjusted, athletic person's body will adjust.
Right.
Get up and do it. Just get the fuck up and do it. You feel depressed? Go for a jog.
Right.
You feel too depressed to go for a jog?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I am agreeing with this right here. Hey, Isabella, come here. I just kind of want to bring in a little example. All right, stay right there. Now listen to this a little bit.
Wait, at a certain point, and by the way, at a certain point, tell your biceps and your shoulders you haven't done 20 push-ups. They don't listen. They don't care. You do 20 push-ups, your shoulders will respond the same way.
Oh, whoa, no. Get back here. I'm making a video. No, get your butt back here. Now, this goes to the fact of what I tell you when you are
way a happy, well-adjusted, athletic person's body will adjust.
Right.
Just get up and do it. Just get the fuck up and do it. You feel depressed? Go for a jog.
Right.
You feel
I don't
too
care
depressed
about
to go
that.
for a jog? Go another mile. Just push your ass off and start pushing yourself. And I know it sounds sort of, you know, it's a little pie in the sky, and it's like you don't understand depression. I understand depression. I had many years.
Now, don't I tell you that just do it. Just get it done. Just do it. Just go. Just keep going. Just keep moving. Just keep doing it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I do that with you, correct? Yeah. And when you're done, and then you turn around and you look back at what you did, does it look like it was that hard? After you completed it? Like the other day, you said you couldn't move something, and I said, bullshit, you can move that. And I kept telling you, get your ass over there and move it. And then you moved it. Did you think anymore that you couldn't move it? No. Because you did, didn't you? Right. So, the moral is that you keep going. You don't stop. You keep going. Ah, you little shithead.
Of physically feeling like I couldn't get out of bed. And I was never like, you don't deserve to live, and I've never like, you deserve everything in life.
Right.
It's just, life's a bitch, and then you die. And I just want to tell anyone who's listening to this who doesn't feel like they deserve anything, act as if. Just start physically moving, because the depression brings you down and it physically atrophies you, and you have trouble getting out of bed. Like my mom spent the better part of her life just unable to move. And I will tell you that once you break through that gill net, that you feel, that wet gill net of depression that's on top of you. The gill net is what dolphins get caught in, that are dragged behind Japanese trawlers. And it's easier than pulling them up one fish at a time.
Right.
That net that's just hanging over you, well, at a certain point, when you become productive and you start breaking out of that depression and you start accomplishing things in your life, it becomes addictive. And just as addictive as eating the Haagen-Dazs and spending the day in your back.
Now, this is when like somebody like Robbie G comes into play. Now, let's be real. There's no knock on this, but let's be real. Robbie G's addicted to the market. He wakes up, he's got his fucking 40 screens all over the goddamn place, fucking telling him everything. God knows what the fuck he has around the other house. I bet you he has a screen in every damn room telling him what the fucking market's doing. He's addicted to it. He's all up in it. Nothing wrong with it. It's because he has gotten his ass up and gotten and going and done it and done it and done it. Now he does it in every room. He probably fucking takes his tablet in with while he's taking his shit. So what? Some people might laugh at that. Do you think he fucking cares? No? No?
Bathrobe and beating off 12 times a day and not picking up the telephone, just as addictive as that may have felt at a certain time, well then writing a book and working on an independent movie and working on a podcast and an idea for an invention and on whatever it is and whatever your thing is will become equally as addicting, and you will start taking on life in the exact opposite direction that you're going now. But the first part is just, you gotta You have to beat yourself up because people beat you up coming up. Mm-hmm. Meaning, you need to kick your own ass. Mm-hmm. You need to go to your own, you need to create your own boot camp, mm-hmm. which is get your ass out of bed mm-hmm. and start moving.
Yeah.
Pick it up. Don't look at it. Don't think about it. For me, it started always with that coffee mug that would be rattling around the passenger floor of my truck. I'd stare at it, pick it up.
I can't possibly pick that up.
I'll get it tomorrow. No, get it now. You know what?
Just make a short left turn and watch it go.
Another mug in there, and it's going to clank around, and the handle's going to break. And I realized I just spent 20 minutes sitting my... Right. Don't spend 20 minutes staring at the mug.
Just do it.
Go get it.
Yeah.
And eventually, you'll just be that person that grabs the mug and brings it into the kitchen. Yeah. Maybe you're insane. Maybe you're lazy. Maybe you're depressed. But you know what? The mug's in the sink.
Yeah. The time I was 14 on, I was just complete.
Nah, that's Joe Rogan. He's okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm still kind of like, with him. But anyway, Adam is 180 trillion% correct. I remember when I worked I was the head tech for an ISP, and a month later I was a janitor. I couldn't take that, man. I couldn't. Now, I fired my boss. This is funny. I got the guy that was ahead of me. He was kind of a friend. He's a fucking jackass. He really is. He still thinks he's hot shit in his job over at fucking at a grocery store. He thinks that like I have no job or my job is like pointless or something. He doesn't realize that I'm like fucking 20 years past him in reality land. So he smugs me when I go in there, and one day I just had to say something to him, and I said, it was too easy to make you quit that one night, because I made him quit. Because working in this janitorial company, I knew the only way I would be happy is if I was making money and if I was making the decisions. Now, I needed to get that guy ahead of me the fuck out of my way. So finally, I was on him. I was picking at him like a fucking buzzard. I was picking at him. You know how digital can fucking pick at people. God knows what I do in real life. And then finally, I said, fuck this, I'm quitting. That motherfucker beat me to the goddamn door. Even though I wasn't going too fast. He was too lazy to sit back and do the work. And as he drove off, and I said, God, you are a dumb shit. Now you have no job. I took that company from nothing to over $300,000 a year. Sold. I even there was a NFL football player that owned a gym that I sold an account to. My first sale. And I sold it so good that we were making about $3,000 a month profit on that account. When I got to this new job, the job I work at now, the same thing. I had roadblocks. the first thing I wanted to do is become supervisor. But the other supervisors didn't want me to be a supervisor. They were threatened by me. So finally, I kind of wised up, and I changed my directions a little bit, and I was able to take over a team of special people that there's like 12 of us that handled all of the hot issues in the office. You know, you call, you talk to the supervisor or whatever. That problem went to us. Then I rewrote what was called the escalation SOPs, in our operating procedure. Well, I submitted it to the main boss, and waiting to get the okay from corporate to institute it, because it was a much more efficient way. And that was my specialty, was to figure out and plan things. Planner, you know. And so I knew that this would work. I knew this would be perfect and everything else. And then I got pulled to the side and told that I needed to tell all my teammates that our position is no longer needed and we need to reapply for this new one that's coming out. And they gave me the SOP for it. And I sat back in a room and with my team that I was a team lead for, and I was reading it, and I was like, son of a bitch, it's my SOP. They made a couple little tiny changes here and there. But corporate took my SOP, well, somebody in corporate, a VP, took my SOP, put his name on it, and made it official in every place. I laughed my ass off. Yeah, I went to the director and I was like, have you really read this? And she goes, yeah. I said, you realize that this is mine. This is the one I wrote. You even had the mistakes, the spelling mistakes. I shouldn't spell it. So what? And she goes, I know. I said, so what? I get no credit, no nothing, no thank you, no recognition, no nothing. And she goes, well, I'll put a letter in your file. I said, well, you know what? That's cool. That's all I needed. You put a letter in the file. It says that the one that turned in is a mirror copy of what I wrote. That's fine with me. And that SOP, they used to change these things all the time. They used to change them like every month. Every one of the buildings had their own deal, and they change it all the time because they didn't know what they were doing and all this other crap. It's now been the same since Isabella's been born. Matter of fact, the day after she was born, I had to come back to work for retraining. Even though I already knew what was being done. But anywho, it's been the same since she's been alive. And they expanded it to every site. So, I then got a job with where I'm at now, which is way above where the supervisors that were holding me back are at. And they are pissed because I'm still hourly their salary, and they are beneath me. And there was one I went into, because I've been work at home now since she's been alive, and I went back into the office to swap out a computer, and one of the supervisors there jumped me for not having, like a correct dress code. And I said, "Excuse me? I'm sorry. You must be mistaken. But I work at home. I'm just here to swap out a computer." And she was like, "Oh, no, it doesn't matter. You come into the office and you better do this." And I'm like, how about this? How about you go get your manager? And then she came back with this guy, and I'm gonna call him George. And George looked at me. He smiled. He laughed, and he looked at her, and he goes, Just leave him alone. Just leave him alone. He's above your grade pay." And I said, "Yes." Like I tried to tell her, I pull rank, so she could take a hike. But he's like, "Yeah, you don't want to mess with him. Leave him alone. Don't even bother him." And I had my daughter they had like kind of like a shopping cart. And I had my daughter sitting in there, and she's only like 2, and pushing it through the center and everything else. And and they all knew not to do that. But that one never knew who I was, because she didn't start until after I left and everything else. But it's a funny situation, but you got to keep going in life. What happened to middle class? Simple. People stopped going. Come on. People defaulted to default jobs. Retail, mostly. Saw a guy who's like 30 years old working fast food. You default? Ain't go nowhere. I don't got no special education. I don't got no special anything. I just don't have time for stupid people, and I don't stop. And that's the thing that people need to learn.